chapter of Tehillim is obviously still necessary for our dear brothers and sisters in Ukraine, in Russia, in all this part of the world, and all over the world for that matter. So let us just start with chapter 120. Sheramales el Adonai batzoros likrosi ve'yaneni Adonai hatilu nafshi misfar shekem loshon remiyo mayid lachem yoysev lach loshon remiyo chitzi gibur shenin migach l'risamim o yoli ki garti mesher shchanti molikidor rabas shoch no lo nafshi misani sholem ani sholem v'chada behimo la milchomo. We want peace, and we don't want to have conversations of war. Let us give some tzedakah in the pushka. And obviously this is in addition to all this financial support that we're sending to the organizations that are actually helping the Jewish people who are still there and those who have fled and are being housed, etc., etc. Let's have a short Vatorah today. Parsha of this week is Vahi Bayom HaShmini, Parsha Shmini, the 8th. So the pasuk starts with the word Vahi Bayom HaShmini, and it was on the 8th day. Rashi says, what 8th day was this? 8th day of what? So Rashi says, the 8th day of the investitures. Moshe Rabbeinu for the previous 7 days was busy doing all the service in the Mishkan. And on this 8th day now, Kora Moshe l'Aaron u'leVe'onav u'leziknei Yisrael, Moshe Rabbeinu called to Aaron, his brother Aaron, and Aaron's children, u'leziknei Yisrael, the elders of the Jewish community. And what is he telling them? And he's basically telling them that God has decided that from now on it will be Aaron HaKohen and his children, the priest, that is, who will now do the service in the Mishkan, in the service in the temple forever. But Rashi also adds another detail. When was that 8th day? And Rashi points out that this was the day of Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the first day of the month of Nisan, which on that day the Mishkan was set up. What's so special about that day? So Rashi quotes what is also brought in Gemara Shabbos, page Pei Zayin, 87 Amud Beis, says the following. Tana, we have learned, Oisa Yom, that day, that is Rosh Chodesh Nisan, of that year, not al Eser HaToris. It took 10 crowns. Which crowns? 10 special, important aspects. Rishon Lemaaseh Bereshis. This was on a Sunday. Sunday is the first day of creation of the world. Rishon LaNesim. The first day were the princes, in other words, the 12 leaders of the 12 Shvatim, of the 12 tribes, they brought that day the first sacrifice in the Mishkan for the first 12 days. They were the ones who offered the offerings, and this was the first day. By the way, the first one was Nachshon ben Aminadav of the Shevet Yehuda. We'll see later, if time permits, what's so special about that. Rishon LeKohuna, the first day where priesthood was established. The Kohanim, that is. Rishon LaAvodah, the first day where the Kohanim started the service in the Beis HaMikdash. Rishon LeYeridas HaEish, the first day where the fire from above came down, from heaven came down on the altar to consume the offerings. Rishon LaAchilas Kodesh, the first day where we were permitted to start eating, we meaning the Kohen, depending what part of the sacrifices, of the offerings, what part of the animal was permitted to be eaten. Rishon Lishkon Shechina, the first day where the Shechina, the godly presence, was down here in this physical world in the Mishkan. Rishon Levarches Yisrael, the first day where the Kohanim blessed the Jewish people. Rishon Isar Abom is the first day of the prohibition of erecting your own altar and make a sacrifice. And finally, the 10th one, Rishon LeChadoshim, the first of the months. As we know that Nisan, on the monthly cycle, is the first month of the year. So we have over here 10 particular important moments, and they're all called Atoros, with a crown. What is the meaning of it? 10 is the perfect number. The letter Yud, which represents 10, is the perfect letter, the perfect number. God created the world with 10 utterances. God gave us the 10 commandments. A minyan is 10 people. We have, just like God has the 10 attributes, it's called the 10 midos, the 10 sephiros, so too Kabbalah explains every human being has those 10 attributes, 3 intellectual ones and 7 emotional ones, which forms a complete, perfect person. The crown represents above the 10. So that's what the Mishnah says. This day is a day which represents above the 10. In other words, the purpose of all the 10. The purpose of the creation of the world is what? For God to be present over here in this world. How is this happening? By us using our 10 attributes, by us using our intellect and our emotions for the service of Hashem. But in what way? In a way of a crown, above the limitation. Just like Nachshon ben Aminadav. He was the one who jumped into the water when they came out of Egypt, and after his jumping into the sea, that's when it split. He's going above the call of duty, so to say. His Mesiras Nefesh is what brought about the redemption of the Jewish people from Egypt. So too, those crowns, the 10 is what represents going above and beyond by our Mesiras Nefesh, which will bring the Geula in the